Why should your residents renew? We know that you are about to come up on what is traditionally known as a busy leasing season. Well, not only is it a busy leasing season, this is a very busy renewal season as well for you. So similar to what we did with last month's power panel, we're going to unveil the top 5 drivers for renewal likelihood. Before we jump in, I wanted to introduce our panelists. We have Charles David, who is the property manager of Stone Ridge Apartments. Charles, do you want to unmute and say hello to the group?
Hi there. How's it going?
And we have Patrice Duke. Patrice is the community manager for Trevor's Run at Dulles Center. Patrice, you want to say hello to the group as well?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day.
Love it. And I think I am trying to get, Kimberly was having problems with connecting. I'm going to double check to see if I can find her here. I hope she is. Kimberly, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, so she may not be available just yet, but that's okay. We got plenty to cover before we start talking to all of our panelists. So, poll time. Everyone who is on the call, you're going to see a poll pop right up on your screen. And I just want you to click. Is this your first time attending a power panel? This is our 4th one for the year, so it's okay if this is not your first, or if this is your first time. But I want to know if we have anyone who's new to this power panel format. I got 54% of you. I'm going to wait till I get to a good 67. All right, let's close this out. So yes, we have some brand new attendees, first time attendees. Well, first off, welcome everyone. Happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this session is going to be really informative for you. So let's do a quick rundown of how it works. We're going to be here, give or take, depending on how many questions we have, from 12 to 1 or 9 to 10, whatever time zone you're in. I will send in a follow-up email the link to the recording, so in case you do have to log off early, and also the slides, because we have tons of data. We always get asked about the slides. We're going to send that to you. The questions box is open from the top of the webinar all the way through the bottom. So feel free to enter in any questions that you might have. We love to know your comments about our exit survey. You can sign up for next month's session. I'll tell you what that topic is. And every time we do a power panel, we give a $50 Starbucks gift card away. And the gift card is made possible by our sponsor, Pinwheel. So I am going to show a really quick video that gives you a little bit of information about Pinwheel, and we thank them for being our sponsor and for helping us be able to do these kinds of giveaways. All right, so once again, thanks to Pinwheel, we really appreciate it. So how can you win this gift card? All you got to do is go to our social media. After the webinar, we are going to post the rating of the session. So out of a possible 5 stars, how did you guys rate this session? All you got to do is like that post, and in the comment with this little money hungry emoji. Use that in your comments and you will be entered to win the Starbucks gift card. And the contest is going to close at 5 o'clock today. We are going to pick the winner tomorrow. So let's talk about why we're here. According to our Insight pre-renewal survey for 2020, this is a survey that we send out to residents who are 120 days before their lease is scheduled to expire. We ask them, how likely are you to renew your lease when it expires? The reason that we're asking at 120 days is we don't want them to be tainted or moved or, have a different idea in their head at all by the renewal notice. We just want to know, based on sheer satisfaction, how likely are you to renew your lease? Well, 36% of the residents said they're very likely to renew. We'll take that all day, every day, right? 36%. You have what's called the movable middle. These are the residents that are somewhat likely and don't know. They're kind of on the fence. That makes up over half of this renewal pool, which is fantastic. You have more residents out there that you can kind of work with, and only 22% said that they're not likely to renew. So why do we have this group on our panel today? Well, take a look at where their renewal likelihood is. The number of residents who say they are very likely to renew. We have 68, 59, 55%. So obviously things are going really well at these three communities, and we want to just kind of, learn what we can from them. So in order to be able to decide or determine or figure out what drives people to be very likely to renew, we do our yearly analysis. And like I said, last month, we did the top 5 drivers for value. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that webinar, for those of you that this is your first one, in our follow-up email, we'll let you know where you can go to watch the recording of last month's webinar. The reason I'm talking about it is that these drivers look very different from the drivers for renewal likelihood. And so we're going to kind of decipher why your residents are focusing on different things based on what would they pay more for, and then what am I willing to stay another year for? So in 2013, if you participated last month, we've been tracking these things for years. So the top 5 drivers started in 2013. If we look at 2020 for renewal likelihood, we have the perception of value. And if you want to know what drives value, you can look at those other drivers. Sense of community, would recommend, the apartment appearance and condition, and social media. So that was 2020. Here's where we're going to put on kind of our thinking caps, and I want to tap your brains a little bit. I want to know, what do you guys think? Which driver do you think dropped out of the top 5 for 2021? And you can click right on your screen, which one do you think is no longer in the top 5 for 2021? And if you're in a group setting, go ahead and talk amongst yourself. That's fine. Take a group vote. All right, I'm at 45%. I want to get to 67% before we go on. Okay, we're at 68%. Let's go ahead and close this out. So very interesting that the majority of the group says sense of community dropped out of the top 5 for 2020, followed by would recommend, and then social media. So let's see where we are. The driver that dropped out of the top 5, I'm sorry, let me go back. There we go. The driver that dropped out of the top 5, it's not sense of community. The driver that dropped out of the top 5 is actually social media. It was hanging on by a thread. And so what residents are saying in that regard is that it's already part of the value drivers for them. So it's a higher importance in terms of what they're willing to pay more for. And it's a way that you can celebrate your residents, right? So if you're celebrating your residents on social media and you're not advertising your vacant apartments and things like that, that is almost, going to make them more interested in keeping that feeling going, wanting to stay at the community another year. So we know that we have a new player in the top 5 for 2021. There's something new that has come into the list that we did not see in 2020. So here we go. Let's see who can guess which one that is. Which renewal driver do you think is now in the top 5? Is it the office? Is it neighbors? Is it the quality of maintenance? Or is it safety and security? All right, the numbers are coming in faster this time, but we're still only at 50%. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close it. We have the winner. The top one is office being responsive and dependable. That makes sense, to be honest. I think that kind of makes sense given the fact that the office was closed last year, right? Neighbors or safety and security, and then neighbors. Well, the player that is back in the game, neighbors, has come back into the top 5. What is super interesting is that these drivers are getting very much in line with the perception of value. When that happens, that your residents not only find value in where they live, but they want to continue where they live, what that means is that it is very, very possible for you to eliminate concessions or not have as many concessions. It's also possible for you to push rents a little bit more. So if you're worried, if you're afraid about your residents not renewing because of a rental increase, when these things start to become more in line, it is possible for your residents to talk themselves out of their own price objection. So where we are right now, 3 of the value drivers are in that renewal driver category. And then you add the perception of value on top of that. If events or if social media were in the top 5 for renewal drivers, you guys would have a green light in terms of what you could get for each apartment home at your community. So the value drivers for 2020, here's what they speak to. How does living here make me feel? Do I feel connected? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel celebrated? Because again, we have social media, we have events in here. The renewal drivers are all about, do I want to keep feeling this way? Do I want to feel connected, and do I want to feel comfortable? Now, the 2 distinct differences between value and renewal comes down to whether or not you're celebrating your residents and whether or not your residents feel confident that this experience is going to go on year after year after year. Because if they feel a high level of confidence, they will renew, because obviously the relationship, the connection is there, and the confidence is there that it will continue. So that's why those things are really, really important to look at these value drivers and renewal drivers from a resident's perspective. So now here's where I'm going to turn it over to our panel. We're going to start out with the first driver, which is the perception of value. So the first driver being the perception of value, I want to talk to Charles. We know that value for residents is all about how living at the community makes them feel. So Charles, what would you say are some of the things that your team has done to really make your Stone Ridge residents feel important and special?
Well, so the most important for us is the communication and follow through. You know, like trust, building our residents' confidence has been earned, and I believe we've done that with our communication and then the follow through. One example that I think sets us apart from other companies is that we have a 24-hour maintenance guarantee with all resident work order requests. I feel this guarantee shows our commitment to each resident's requests, whether it be big or small. For basic work orders, we don't push them out. We still address them within 24 hours. For some of those more complicated work orders, we don't guarantee all work will be completed within that time frame, but we do guarantee that we will address any requests within 24 hours. If any additional work is needed, We then have a work order communication process in place, and that ensures our residents are up to date on every step of their work order. If we need to order parts or reach out to a vendor, we make sure to communicate the parts ETA or the vendor's scheduled time to the residents within 24 hours. And then a second example, which I really think our residents appreciate, is that we're very diligent in upholding the community policies. We're not doing it in an overbearing way, but most of the time, just a polite phone call does that trick. But not addressing lease violations is a surefire way to lose those confidence of your best residents. So we hold everyone accountable, making sure your neighbor is held to the same community policies that you are, which I have found to make for better neighbors that are more respectful of each other. And most importantly, by being consistent and following through, we've built great trust and confidence with our residents, and they know that we'll go above and beyond for them at all times.
So Charles, just a quick follow-up question. What would you say
Yes.
is like the average tenure of your residents? Do they stay longer than 2 years? Do they, like if you had to guess, what would you say?
Yeah, no, definitely longer than 2 years. I mean, we're probably more around 4 or 5 years, I would guess. The property's 15 years old. We have some people that have been here from the beginning, but we're definitely right around that 4 or 5 year mark, I would guess.
Okay, and just for clarification, for those of you who are wondering, Charles is in Northern California, just outside of Sacramento. So in terms of, the area. I think I have Kimberly. Kimberly, are you there? Oh, let's see. Hey, Kimberly, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Perfect. Welcome. So you missed the introduction, but everyone, Kimberly has been able to join us, get connected. So I'm going to throw a question out your way about sense of community. Knowing that, again, it's so important with renewal likelihood, can you give us or our audience some of the creative things that go on at your community or things that you guys are doing that really kind of builds that strong connection between the residents and the management team, and even each other?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, a lot of what Charles said, I completely agree with 100%. I think communication is really the key to everything. If we communicate things appropriately, communication can solve everything. Some of the things that we do, though, like for instance, if we get a noise complaint or something, we don't immediately send a lease violation. We contact the resident, just as Charles was saying. And we try to have a nice conversation in the office, or we'll even meet them at their home so that we can address what the issue is. And they're more likely to accommodate with us and work with us in resolving those issues instead of just immediately sending a lease violation. So we treat our folks like they're our family, and we consider them our family. We get that close to them. We also communicate everything that's going on the property to them. We send out property emails a lot. Actually, I've said, is it overkill? I don't think that it is, because they know what's going on, they know what to expect, and they know that they will receive information from us going forward. So our motto is kind of say yes as much as you can instead of no, within limits, of course. But we try to resolve everything as quickly as possible to keep the residents informed of all of our progress, things like that. Hello?
Sorry, Kimberly, I think your audio might be going in and out, but we got most of what you said. I think we're okay with that one. Charles, I'm going to have a follow-up question for you about maintenance.
Yes.
When your residents have a delay, we had a question come in from an office or from an audience member. When your residents are experiencing any kind of a maintenance delay, how are those delays communicated? Like, who does what in terms of keeping residents in the loop?
So if maintenance obviously can't speak with the resident in person, what our process is anyone in the office is, once we order a part, depending on what the delay is, a lot of the times for us it is like a part or a vendor, we then email them the same day, letting them know that, hey, we've ordered this part, The part is scheduled to be delivered this date, and once we get it, we will then schedule another time for our maintenance to come by and complete your work order. Most of the time, we found that the emailing residents is the easiest communication. People are at work and busy. But if we're unable to get a hold of them, email, of course, we make a call. But email has always been the most efficient for us and for the residents.
Okay, sorry about that. Everyone, while Charles was talking, I switched to a headset because I think we were having some audio issues. So I hope that takes care of it. I hope that clears things up. We're gonna power through. That's what we do. Okay, so 97% would recommend. That's where we are with Patrice, and we know that is one of the top drivers. The current or the national average for 2020 is 78%. So knowing, Patrice, that 97% of your residents would recommend the community, those who did the pre-renewal survey last year, what do you think are some of the things that residents like most about living at Trevor's Run? Like, what would they brag about to their friends or family?
It's pretty straightforward. We provide excellent customer service, and I know that may sound cliche, but if you looked at our reviews from past and present residents, that's the common thread, is the customer service. And we basically have a quest for excellence, and that is we do what we said we would do, as we said we would do it, when we also make it easy as possible for our residents here at the community. We have an efficient resident-friendly procedures and policies that lead to quick problem solving. So any issues that may arise, they're eliminated really fast. And basically, that's how you ensure excellent customer service for your residents. This, in turn, basically offers them the fantastic living experience that you desire them to have. And actually, last year, being such a tough year, we had the good fortune of having over 79% renewal conversion.
Well, that's pretty big. That is actually pretty big. When you have your residents, what would you, for your residents, similar to the question I asked for Charles, what's your average tenure? Are they staying 2 years? Are they staying 5 years? Like, again, if you had to guess.
Basically 4 to 5 years, and we were built in 1999, and I still have residents that are still here from 1999. Actually, one of the residents moved in while they were still building.
Okay, well, we'll take that all day, every day. If they can stay year after year and happy and recommend their communities to a friend, I think that's fantastic. So going back to the sort of, what we think is important, what we want teams to focus on, Charles, we know again with that would recommend, this is that brag moment, right? This is like your residents have reached such a high level of confidence that they really feel like they can talk up your community to someone else and it does not reflect poorly on them kind of on the back end. So what do you think some of the things, aside from like your 24-hour maintenance guarantee and things like that, what are some of the things that you really think your residents at Stone Ridge they like about your community?
Well, I mean, 95%, that's obviously a high percentage. So, I think a lot of what we're talking about in this call has something to do with it. I mean, one big contributor that we have is our office and maintenance team. We strive to be friendly and present 100% of the time. Availability is so important for us. We're open 7 days a week, and I think that goes a long way with our residents. And there's an old sports cliche. The best ability is availability. So basically, it doesn't matter how great our team is, and they are great. But if we're only as good as we are if we're available to help. And that can be frustrating for people if they can't get a hold of us or if we're not fixing or addressing their issues. So always being present is a way for us that's showing that we care. Also, Stone Ridge is an A property. We take that very seriously. So keeping up the curb appeal daily is important, making sure the amenities are in great shape, and always improving whenever possible. CTL management, our company, we have a 1, 5, and a 10-year plan to make sure the property stays at an A. Next year, we're scheduled to paint the exterior. We resurface the parking lot every few years just to maintain that clean and vibrant look. And these are just a few examples of things that we do to try and stand out. I believe our residents notice this level of detail and appreciation that we do to keep the community's appearance. And we're proud of this property. I feel like the residents take ownership and are also proud of their home. Therefore, they do like bragging to their family and friends about how great their community is. And, I take that very serious. Company takes that very serious, and we want to maintain that level of pride with everyone at the community.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way of putting it. If your residents can brag about where they live, not only does that make them kind of the envy of their friends, but it makes them look like they make smart decisions because they're the ones that chose you. They're the ones that picked your community. So I love everything that you guys are sharing with our group right now. And I have to say, we have an attendee who has chimed in, and I'm going to give Heather a shout out. She says, Willowbrook Apartments in Lakeland, we have 40 residents here from 1988. I think
Wow.
that is amazing. So, I mean, job well done. Well done. I have to shout out, make sure I mention that shout out to the group. Okay, so next question. Let's go to Patrice for the next question. I'm going to share with you guys this really quick sort of little more data points because we love data, all about recommending. And then we're going to turn it over to Patrice to talk about one of the other drivers for renewals. So we asked on our online renter study, if you were asked by your management company, would you write a positive review on social media or any kind of ratings and review site? 62% said yes. Okay, so hey, 62% group. The next question for them was, have you ever been asked to leave a positive review? 84% said no. So we know that, residents would be willing to sing your praises. They would be willing to brag on you and talk about how great your community is and recommend your community to the world. But it's really important that, we're asking residents, and we're asking them in the right way. And I talked about this during our last session, but if you missed it, we have a webinar on our website with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and they talk about the proper way to make sure that your reviews are not incentivized in any way, and if they are, what you can do, and that your reviews are honest and not deceptive. So we're just trying to get this information out to as many people as possible because we know that the industry, your renters, are relying on these reviews. So back to the next driver, the apartment appearance and condition. I don't think we have seen a year where how comfortable residents are in their homes has been more important than 2020. You have residents who are spending, maybe a few hours here and there and a good part of their weekend in their home to literally spending every single day, every minute in their home and trying to make that situation work. So knowing, Patrice, knowing that your residents have rated their apartment appearance and condition almost 0.5 of a point above the national average, I mean, that is unbelievable. Do you want to take a moment and talk about what your service team is doing, like how you guys are making sure, what are the things that's happening to make sure that your residents are as comfortable as possible inside their homes?
So that provides us the opportunity to invest in our community over time. Um, Basically, our community is better than it was when it was first built. The condition and appearance has never declined. However, I do have the most amazing maintenance team here. My guys, they are the oil that keeps this community in excellent condition. They go above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that every everything here is top notch. My service tech, he's been at the community for over 17 years, and his his assistant has worked for our property for over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that says a lot. And basically, the turnaround time for a service request, they're at your apartment within 15 to 20 minutes of receiving a call that you have an issue. My office team, they're very professional, accommodating and supportive with each encounter that they have with the resident. So our residents basically are like family here. It's a small community, so we are very close, a close knit group here, and that kind of helps out. And even to the point where when they see our maintenance guys out on the community, they will stop them. And sometimes the guys, if they're not doing anything, if they have an issue, they'll just go call up the office and let us know, hey, I'm going to apartment such and such. They have a small issue and I'm going to go and take care of it. So basically, the Allen and Rocks has provided me the opportunity to do whatever's necessary to keep the community in excellent condition.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that's always a challenge too, right? It's the number of people that you have on the staff, given the number of homes at your community. It has a lot to do with, training for the service team as well, having the right materials and things like that. But I think what I'm getting from you is what I think is different about what's happening at your community and why that score is as high as it is that there is a very sincere level of, we want to make sure you're comfortable. And also, I think there's a high level of pride in the job, like
Absolutely.
knowing that the service team has been there for so long, really kind of, like this is their home as well. They may work on site, but this is their home, and they want to make sure that residents are comfortable and that they're doing, a really great job. I mean, I will say, with the scores that I see on a pre-renewal survey, this entire panel, honestly, the pre-renewal survey is no joke. It is not one of our easy surveys. You're just not going to knock out, a perfect 5.00 with the type of questions that we're asking on the survey, nor do you want to. You want that constructive criticism, but you all are doing a really fantastic job at your community. So I'm going to turn my last question over. Kimberly, we'll bring you back. Let me go ahead and make sure that you can hear me okay. Kimberly, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to throw this last question to you. We know that neighbors are a wild card. They can hurt or help your sense of community. We know that it's super important that what Charles had mentioned, that everybody's held accountable and things like that. Knowing that your neighbor score is 0.2 of a point above the national average. And again, it may not seem like a lot, but 1/10 of a point for everyone who's on the call is a night and day difference. 1/10 of a point means that there is a stark contrast between what is expected, the national average, and what someone is getting. So what are some of the things, like in terms of what's having a very positive impact on the overall sense of community where you live, in terms of like how your neighbors are getting along or how they interact together?
One of the things that we had spoken about earlier that we had said was communication. So we encourage our residents to communicate and get to know each other. Of course, we do resident events, at least 3 a month, where we bring people together. During COVID, that was a little bit hard, but we still did things for them through the web. So we kept in contact with them. We do anything that we can for our residents to make them happy, because just like Patrice said, they are our family. And we even tell our residents that. One of the emails I sent to them was, I told them, and maybe I'm old school, but I told them they're our peeps. We care about them. They are our family. We see them come and go, but they're our family. During the COVID and during the recent freeze that we had, we actually saw our residents coming together, helping each other with food or water, any necessities that they needed. We have a police officer who lives here. He offered to drive anyone anywhere they needed to go in the freeze. He offered to hold a meeting with our residents to explain what he knew was going on. It was just very well thought out and planned during all the chaos, because of the communication. I think that communication is really what it boils down to. Our National Night Out, we do so many events, but National Night Out is our biggest event. And we go all out for that, to bring all of the residents together and to show them how much we care for them. And we know that they care for us too. And that's such a great feeling.
Yeah, I think a true test, for everyone who's on the call, Kimberly is in Texas. And Kimberly, what city are you in?
We're in Austin.
Okay, so you all know the big freeze, the winter storm that came rolling through Texas. When residents and management teams are challenged in that way, you really do see, or I think it's fantastic. It's encouraging to see your residents coming together, your residents, working with the management team, being understanding of the management team and what your limitations are, what you can and can't get accomplished. Similar to COVID, when COVID hit, I think a lot of people expected their survey scores to drop, right? Like, oh, here we go. Our residents aren't going to be happy. They're going to give us bad scores because of our amenities. Well, actually, every single one of our surveys, the national average went up from 2019 to 2020 because residents worked with you. They understood. And to Kimberly's point, Kimberly, how long did you all go through that kind of deep freeze or the winter storm? How long was your community and your residents affected?
We're still affected.
Well, I mean, without the power and water, things like that.
Well, for power, we never lost power, thank goodness. We did lose water to several buildings. We have 15 buildings here, 314 units. So we did lose some water. We kept in contact with every single resident at every opportunity we could. We told them what was happening. We told them the next steps and the next steps. We told them everything. And I can say, by the way, along with that and the communication, we have received numerous thank you notes. We've received gourmet popcorn bags, brownies, cookies, Starbucks, Tiff's treats, flower bouquets, all kinds of things. And these are all from our residents thanking us for the communication and how we handled the freeze emergency.
Wow, I think that's amazing. Everyone who's on the call, we're getting some great questions coming in for our panelists. So if you all have questions that you'd like to ask them, feel free to chime in. I mean, panelists, get ready. There's some really good questions that are coming your way that I think you'll be able to help our teams out with. So here are kind of the key takeaways before we open up the official Q&A part of the webinar. First things first, renewal likelihood is rooted in value. That's the number one driver, right? 3 of the renewal drivers are echoes from the perception of value drivers. So these things are getting very close in line with each other, which is encouraging, which is something you all, want to see happen, to where you can start pushing rents and start limiting concessions. You want to celebrate your residents with events and social media because, again, it builds that connection. It makes them look good. It gives them those braggable moments to their friends and their family members. And remember, renewing, it's not like, okay, I'm just going to stay here another year. Renewing, the decision to renew really means that your residents want to keep living the experience that you've been giving them. And so if you go back, one of the audience members has had 40 people at the community since 1988. We're looking at Charles and Patrice with multiple year tenures. We are looking at residents who really step up and come together during crisis, like what Kimberly has experienced. So they want to continue that experience. They can live anywhere. They can live in any community, get the same 4 walls, get the same type of amenities, but what they are renewing the experience that they're living. So if we look at renewals in that regard, is that experience something they're willing to pay more for year after year? So I'm going to open up the chat. If you would like to be on a panel, we're going to have a link in our follow-up email. You can also nominate people. I will tell you this, I'm currently planning 2 panels. I have one for leasing associates and I have one for service team members. So if you all have a rock star leasing associate on your team, or you have a hands down maintenance superhero on your team, please send me an email or nominate them using the form. We would love to have them be on our panel in the next coming months. You can also suggest future topics as well. And don't forget about the Starbucks card. You got to look for the follow-up post with the rating of the session and comment with the little greedy green for money, money face emoji. So next month, we're going to be talking about the top 5 drivers for recommend. So what are the drivers that would make people want to recommend your community? And I will say this, they are 100% different than the value drivers and the renewal drivers. It is a completely different kind of, trigger for them. So we want you to join us in May. And again, the follow-up email is going to have your registration link. So here are some questions, and I'm going to throw this out to the group. Let's see. Patrice, you mentioned your community is small. How many units, and can you tell the group where your community is located? I hope Patrice, let me go back. Sorry, everyone. I had to mute them because we were having some audio issues. Hang on. Okay, Patrice, once again, I'm sorry. Can you go
Oh,
ahead
no
and let
problem.
us know where your community is and how many units you have?
I'm located in Herndon, Virginia, and I have 170 units.
Okay, that's not a small size. That's a decent sized community. Okay, I like that. Here is a question. This could be for really anyone on the call. So whoever wants to jump in first, we have someone who wants to know, do you offer any incentives for your maintenance team? The attendee says, I feel like some of our guys get burnt out and some are not too happy about having to clean the grounds, even though that's something, that's part of the job. It's what they signed up for. Are there any kind of bonuses in play for any of your service team members? Patrice, do you have any?
We have our entire staff receives bonuses twice a year.
Okay.
And then here in the office, we have our own little get-togethers where we have luncheons or either go out to lunch or just do things after work, bowling. Well, since COVID, we haven't been able to really do any of those things as far as going outside of the community to do things together. But
Okay.
yeah, we all get bonuses.
Okay. Let's see. Charles or Kimberly, feel free to open your audio if your maintenance team has any incentives or bonuses going on.
So very similar to Patrice, we as a company or as a property, we get bonuses twice a year, which is based upon performances. We do every once in a while, we'll try and have like team lunches or just little gifts or prizes. As a company, we also do just for fun things, and we'll have raffles and stuff like that, but not specifically just for the maintenance, but for the entire company, even leasing consultants, anyone in the office. Everyone's been going through such a hard time. We try and have created some fun games for everyone to win some prizes and have a good time here at work.
Okay, cool. You got to have fun at work, right? You got to make it fun, or else every day's a Monday. If you don't,
We try. We certainly try.
Okay. And I have an answer for this one, but I am going to first turn it over to the panel. We have someone who says our company's not doing in-person resident events. What do you suggest we do? They've done virtual things like bingo, but are there some other things that they can do? Has anyone done any COVID-friendly type of events at the communities? I'm going to open up everyone's audio just so you guys can, let me see. Okay, Patrice or okay, David. Okay, I'm sorry, Charles self-muted. I will tell you while we have while everyone is getting on the line, on our website, we have a series of videos of everything that you can do to keep your residents connected that's COVID friendly. There are virtual events, there are contests, there's things for seniors, things for children, things for, well, I would say younger residents. There's a lot of free resources. You can even Google COVID friendly apartment events. That is like a great resource. COVID friendly apartment events. You'll have blog articles of people that have come up with really interesting and creative things that you can do, things that you probably have not even thought of at all. I'm here in a leasing class for the apartment association, and one of my attendees had a great event idea. It is called Headshots and Topics. Is that, what was the name of your, Christina, the name of your headshot event? They did headshots where clients or where residents can come in and get professional headshots done. So if they're looking for a job, if they want to change up their LinkedIn profile, they did a little like wine and cheese kind of thing. It's obviously all of it was social distancing, but residents could set little appointment times where they can come in and just get a professional headshot done. It would be great if you had a photographer who was already a resident, someone that you can tap into and maybe promote their business as well. But I actually love that idea. I think that's a great, great idea. Let's see.
Another idea they could do is have food trucks come to the community. And that's a way you can still social distance. The resident can come out, choose a food truck that they want to get food from, and take the food back to their homes.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like a food truck week because if you have it on one day, it may not be something I like or
Right.
it might be something I'm allergic to. But if you have a different variety all throughout the week, or just give me a calendar of like the date, when they're coming out and the type of food, it gives residents something, interesting to look, to look forward to. And if someone wants to know if you guys are offering renewal gifts, are you guys giving your residents any kind of gifts for renewing?
We offer that every year. They can get accent wall, carpet cleaning, things like that. But that's something we offer every year.
Okay. Kimberly, do you guys have any kind of renewal gifts for your residents?
No, ma'am, we don't have any.
Okay, so no renewal gifts and still really high renewal percentage. I like that. That's
Yes.
good. Let me see. Charles, I'm trying to
Oh,
there we go. Charles, are you there?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
great.
Yeah, we do actually, kind of back to your point about the residents and tenure. After 3 years, we do offer a carpet clean just to keep their carpets maintained. Now, if we really get some long-term residents after 15 years, we'll actually upgrade their unit with brand new granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, wood plank floors, depending on what level they're on. So for those long-term residents, to say thank you and that how much we appreciate they've been here so long, we'll actually upgrade their unit completely without any additional charge to their rent. It would, just a standard renewal rate.
Okay, great. We have some ideas for those of you that are looking for like different things that you can do. In addition to like the food trucks, we have someone who says that they do a blood drive every 3 months and they hand out the breakfast bags, like the breakfast on the go. Those things are available. I'm scrolling through all of these ideas because there's tons of stuff in here. I love this part of the session because there's always something good. Someone says that love that renewal gift. So it also, adding accents to the value of the community. You guys know what's a really great renewal gift right now? We were just talking about this in the class. Knowing that you have so many people who are still working from home, a printer would be be good. An office chair would be good, or like a tray table that will convert a normal desk to like a standing desk. So those little kinds of things. Even like a study divider. So if you have two school from home students, there's a divider that goes up in the middle of them so they're not distracted by each other. So think about things that, kind of add a little function to your residence, a booster for the Wi-Fi signal. Those kinds of things are neat little renewal gifts if you're, looking for something outside of like, a concession, or something monetary. We do have some examples of maintenance bonus structures. Let's see. Someone's saying that it's $150 a week they're on call, an extra 100 for being on call on a holiday. They get cell phone reimbursement and a quarterly bonus as well. There's someone who says they get a day off with pay or a $50 gift card based on their Satisfax results. So that's interesting. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see if keep it with the bonus structure. Okay, here's another question. This may I'm not sure if we have an answer, but if not, we'll turn it over to the group. What do you do about marijuana smoke complaints? It is legal in Michigan, but we do not allow it at our property due to disturbing other residents. So is anyone dealing with that, or has anyone on the panel encountered that? Marijuana use on property.
We've encountered it a little bit. Our property is a smoke-free property, but due to legalization of marijuana, there's only so much we can do, or the medical marijuana. We've tried to offer to even purchase people like the what's it called, the smokeless marijuana, things like that, the vapes. There we go. We've tried to offer maybe if a resident does smoke and it is medical marijuana, the vapes. That way it doesn't disturb their neighbors. But I'm sure everyone, that's very tricky for us. It's kind of case by case, but we've tried to do things like that.
Yeah, I would suggest that at the very minimum involve your corporate office. Before you try to approach the resident, before you, send out any notice or anything, get with your regional, get with, maybe even higher than your regional, might have to escalate it higher than that. But I think it's always best to have the discussion kind of come from the top down. So maybe the information is communicated by someone in your corporate office as opposed to the letter coming from the community manager. Maybe it's your regional manager. Maybe it's someone, that's even above your regional manager, so that the residents kind of really understand that this isn't like, oh, we'd like for you to do this, or we'd like for you not to do this. It's coming from your corporate office. I think things like that are always helpful to have, almost like a, um, have a higher up. Not that managers don't have the authority, but just the seriousness of the matter itself. That's important. Let's see. There's I don't know the answer to this question. Charles, you might have to help me. I'm not sure. But they're having problems in Texas. It's illegal in Texas, and with smoking marijuana, and it says it smells and neighbors smell it. They always want to move out because of it. Can we get them the vapes when it is illegal? Probably not. I'm sorry, I didn't even read the whole question. I knew it. I knew it. That's what I get for not scrolling all the way down and reading the entire question. That was funny. Thank you. No, no, I wish we could help. Wish there was something that we can do, but I do think that regardless, it needs to have a corporate voice. I think too, neighbor to neighbor type of complaints. If there are situations that are going on and you all have done everything that you can possibly do, to resolve the issue or make sure that you're holding your residents accountable. Sometimes if this is the third letter that's going out, the third letter could be helpful that it's coming from your regional manager, or helpful that it's coming from someone at your corporate office, because obviously they're kind of ignoring they've ignored the situation, or they've decided not to do whatever it is that they should be doing. So maybe a more powerful voice. Again, I don't mean to take any power away from the community teams, because you guys honestly have all the power when it comes to how you want to manage and run and supervise your residents. But sometimes it's like you just need a little bit more support.
Well, to that point, I mean, most of the advice that we've gotten as a company, we've dealt with our attorneys more than we've
Hmm.
had to get, we've had to contact our attorneys on many occasions to get advice. So these are things that we wanted to make sure that we're following the letter of the law, because it can be really sticky. It's not just black and white. So yeah, we've had to get our attorneys involved if people aren't, listening to those letters. And that was kind of the advice with the vape as well, that, that would be a way to get rid of it for legal states.
Yeah. For legal states. I'm going to read the entire question next time before I start saying it, reading it out loud. All right, everyone. Well, we are pretty much at the top of that hour. Oh, here's someone. There's one last question that popped in. Do you know of any unique solutions to resolve neighbor to neighbor disputes? Sometimes you need it depends on what they're disputing on, right? It depends on where the problem is. Sometimes a mediator is great, having someone else kind of hear out both sides, and then kind of coming to some kind of compromise that everybody can live with, or mostly everyone can live with. Again, if this is one of those things that is a safety issue, if it's an issue that violates any of your community policies or anything in your lease, I think that gives you a lot more, opportunity to take action. But if it's just, I just don't like this person, it's a personality clash kind of thing, or it's, my neighbor, doesn't play the kind of music that I like, and it's always loud and it always bothers me. If those are those kind of personality type things or lifestyle, kind of things, but they don't have anything to do with safety. They don't have anything to do with, something that can potentially, really, harm each other or things like that. If it's more of a personality kind of thing, just try to find middle ground. If you can't, one neighbor is going to get to the point where they want to move or they want to transfer. But if they're kind of staying in their apartment homes, how bad really is it if they haven't asked to like move? I need to move, or you need to get this person away from me. If it's more of a personality kind of clash, that's going to happen with multifamily, unfortunately. But if it's an escalated type of issue, you definitely want to get with your corporate office. To Charles's point, you might even need to look at legal, options as well. But that's where you escalate the situation so that it doesn't go any further than, a mere disagreement or something like that. Okay, so as we start to wrap up, again, thanks everyone for joining. Please go ahead and do the exit survey. I apologize for the audio issues. Sometimes that happens when we're all dialing in from different places. Patrice, Charles, Kimberly, thank you guys so much. Feel free to say a final goodbye to our audience as you log out.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This was fun.
Hey, Kimberly, are you there? I know Kimberly was having some audio issues, so I apologize. Kimberly, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. You want to say goodbye to the group?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. I had a good time too. Thank you. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, you guys, well, we'll see you next month. Be on the lookout for my follow-up email. Register so that you'll know the top 5 drivers for would recommend. And let me know if you have any fantastic leasing associates and really great service team members so that we can get them to be a part of our future panels. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great afternoon. And it's almost Friday. So take care, everybody. Goodbye.
You too.